Good evening and welcome to the Town of Auburn Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, March 26, 2019, now called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by Local Access Programming. Is there anyone here in the audience tonight that's recording tonight's meeting? Hearing none, please rise and join us to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So, just as way of information, if you're here for the 7:05 hearing, ATS Equipment, request for site plan approval at 487 Washington Street, that hearing has been continued. And there's been a request for continuance. Did we decide on a date on that?
That one will be April 23rd.
23rd? Okay.
Yeah,
And also the 7:10 hearing, the ZPT Energy Solutions, that one has also been continued
April 9th.
to April 9th.
We have to vote on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just letting people in the audience know. First order is in A&R for 12 Ellie Way in Worcester, Worcester Auburn Line, Joseph Panarelli Jr. Can you come on up? Introduce yourself.
I'm Joe Panarelli, Jr. My wife and I, Maria.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, we bought this 13 years ago and put in Ellie Way with intentions to build a house right on the spot that we intend to now on the right side in Auburn and Worcester. And now here we are finally at that point after a little bit of a struggle. But we intend to build a single family there and the two lots on the opposite sides. Who knows what the future will bring. We have children, so you know what, there's no real intentions with them right now. But the one we do intend to for ourselves. We have an 11-year-old, so we want to send them to Auburn schools. Would that be something we could do with a house there?
Which side of the line are you gonna put the house on?
Which one are you going to
Well,
put?
that's... Well, they're all going to be Worcester addresses because of the way
The frontage is on.
the frontage is all in Worcester. So as far as the position of the house, this is the one we plan to build on. It'd be, you know, at least halfway through the house. I mean, I don't know.
The middle one is the one you're gonna build on?
Yes, sir, right here. I don't know what percentage exactly, you know, of the house.
I would suggest
no
talk
idea.
to school department.
Yeah, okay, I'm just curious if you guys, you know, any ladies and guys.
Did you
Would
have
know.
anything to say? Did you?
No, it's the frontage is in Worcester, so for our part, we're not worried about the frontage. Everything else is fine on our side. Each 10,000 plus square feet, so
They'll meet.
it's all fine. It's all good
It
for
all
our
meets.
purposes. And it's been endorsed by Worcester already, so.
Oh, yeah, that's okay, that's
Okay.
gonna be my next question.
Yep. Any?
So,
Oh.
may I ask one question? So I'll go back to, with the planning board for the houses plotted on the lots with Worcester and then come back to you guys as well? Is that my process here, or
I don't think you have to do
I have
that.
to-
Yeah.
just
Once you get your-
go to there? Well, it's a subdivision, so in Worcester subdivision regulations, I have to go back per lot with the house plotted on there.
Oh,
I
So,
think not for our purposes.
not for your purposes?
Once
They're
you get
just a
your
single
A&R.
house, the building permits and all that with the building inspector.
It would all go through Worcester because it's Worcester frontage and address.
I think
don't
just
you have a choice
What
on
year?
the school?
I think so.
I think you got a choice on the school.
Because I would be in that situation.
Not positive, but I think.
Yeah.
That's
Check
a
with
lot.
town hall,
I hope so. My 11-year-old boy wants to go.
lottery.
Yeah, yeah.
I just ask when you do start to build, just let us know. If if things go into Worcester, that's fine, but I'd like to know also because it is partway in Auburn. So.
So, okay, yes, I can bring plans so you guys know what's going on and so on and so forth. That's how, if you don't mind, that's how they'll determine the tax base for these lots? Is that the position of the house? Is anybody?
That'd be a question for the assessor.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, for the assessor's office. I know
he's
it's
gonna
kinda
be
great.
confused probably too,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just was wondering, you know. But we need to plot the house, I would say, on there first so they know exactly what's Worcester and what
Yeah.
is Auburn.
In my experience, that's
Yeah, that's what I'd say too, sir, yeah.
Is there sewer and water at every lot?
Yeah, well, this one has already stubbed in from when we did the development, but these two would require to go out into the one that's in the street. But one is all set for it.
Steve, any questions, comments?
None.
Nick?
All set.
Scott? No?
No.
All set? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we endorse the plan.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So what do I do from here? Do I get a,
Just need to sign it.
Sign that with a pen.
So, your copy.
this is all I need? Okay, thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, I think we'll do the minutes.
7:05.
Oh, yeah, 7:05.
Two copies?
Motion to continue. I'll let them all sign it.
Yeah.
Give us another minute. Sitting in a town. Yeah. Yeah, but- Yeah. Okay, we need a motion to continue the 7:05 hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for 705, applicant ATS Equipment Incorporated.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And 7:10.
Minutes.
Yeah. Motion to approve the minutes of March 12th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for March 12th.
I'll second it.
Any comments, corrections, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
She has my corrections. All right.
7:10.
And motion, I'm looking for a motion to continue the 7:10 hearing for ZPT Energy Solutions.
I'll make the motion to continue the meeting for ZPT Energy Solutions
to April.
Second.
Yep, that'll be to April 9th.
to April 9th.
Yep, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait till 7:15.
Now we wait, yep.
There are several items under discussion we can take up until 7:15.
All right, which one would you like to start with?
Don't know if anyone's here from Impact Fitness, but
Impact Fitness, is there someone here from, want to come on up? We're gonna just have a little talk.
Mine's fast one, so.
Okay. Could you please introduce yourself?
Certainly. My name is Paul Ofria, and I am the part owner of Frankie Investments and the Impact Fitness Club down at 314 Washington Street. And it's doing quite well. We
See
just
that
opened in November, and guess what our problem is?
Parking.
So I called Adam Menard. Yep, there you are. And he suggested I come and chat about a couple of ideas that I'm looking at for trying to expand our parking. However extraordinary it is a solution. And so to familiarize you, I have a couple little packets. Unfortunately, my child's juice spilled on 3 of them, so I only have, you can see on that one.
Yeah, I believe-
But-
are those the spec sheets on the?
Yeah, it gives you a little information, and it has a, letter from me, and, the 2 options, and what I have is the closest sketch to the current parking lot, where it's at right now. But I did go down there, and I did see that it's not, and I can leave this with you, the larger version as well. And kind of a suggested location for some of these. So the one I'm really interested in right now is the one that holds 2 cars. Yeah, one under and one on, raised one.
And this is strictly for your staff?
Correct. And I'm thinking somewhere around between 5 and 8 of them.
So I've seen these in New York City in garages, but I've never seen them in New England.
They're in
outdoors.
Boston. I put in my letter, there's a couple of locations that the sales rep told me about, and I also put his information in there if you wanted to call and chat with him a little bit, if there was some kind of question,
Sure.
you might have. But, really the reason I'm here is to see if, if it's possible. I mean, is it something that you guys would not want to see in Auburn, or I guess that's the question, right? I'm assuming that, not assuming, I mean, I've had a lot of discussions with them regarding the safety and how it would work. They, the staff would have their own code. They'd be able to, raise and lower their car. There's, electricity to raise it, but it can be lowered manually should we lose power or something like that. So in that one car situation, it's pretty simple. There is the other one that is pretty extraordinary where it's, we could have 30 cars up in the air. In that scenario, they provide a generator. You would have an on-site generator in case we lost power and you'd be able to get your car down and stuff, because I didn't want to be paying for Uber. So. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of feeling like we need like 30 spaces, at least 30.
Okay.
This would help. Our only other option is to look for another location, and we've got, we've put a lot of money into that building to try and build this club. So, we're interested in any ideas that we can possibly look at.
What's the safety history of these?
I couldn't possibly give you a history. They do have a lot of safety devices built in, and like I said, they do build them and use them all over the place now. They just don't have a lot of them in Boston, but there are safety devices built in, or that you can have options.
What would it cost you to put a parking garage up?
He said the area doesn't look like it could hold a garage, the typical drop-in place cement one. Just the ramp.
site
The
doesn't-
ramp would be the problem.
Yep.
I mean, you'd have to pretty much come off the road and into the ramp kind of thing, and He just didn't see it as a good option for us.
And this was your engineer? It wasn't-
This was just the, yeah, it was actually it was a combination of the sales representative for this company and the engineering company that typically does their engineering. So he looks at all different ways, and we did have that discussion.
Yeah.
That was actually what was my first phone call, was what I requested, what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And
Did
then
your own
they
engineer weigh
came-
in on it?
They gave me this option here.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Well, what I look at when, I see the hand controls out here, and I'm just envisioning someone lowering it and someone else being in the way somewhere that person lowering it couldn't see. Is that a probability?
So everybody that would be using it would also be trained, to retrieve their car. So that's why we wouldn't open it to the public, I guess, is the kind of the thought process there. In the scenario, the larger scenario where you have, let's say 30 cars up in the air, that one we would have a full-time attendant that would be there the whole time. So he would handle all the cars. There wouldn't be anybody pushing buttons or doing anything. They'd just simply get into their car and leave, Well, drop their car off and leave. It'll work out.
Were there discussions about the hydraulic fluid and the volume depending on each unit?
Well, you know what? I tried to get him on the phone today because I wanted to talk to him exactly about that, the hydraulics, and I can't answer that question.
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to know about that, and any mitigation should there be a leak.
Well, generally now with hydraulic fluid, it's all biodegradable. Something like this, even in the equipment, you guys probably use biodegradable in your stuff at the town, right, Bill? So if you have a spill or something, you don't have to worry.
It'll be
Much.
still speedy dry.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
They have to be installed by a trained mechanic that's trained to do this. And they're regulated apparently by, no, I don't remember, it's in my letter.
The elevator company.
Yes, yeah.
So they're inspected by the elevator company, just as elevators are.
Yeah.
That'd be a state.
Interesting.
Well, the local guys.
Anybody, any thoughts?
Easier to buy some land.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried to buy all the butters.
And he
As a
turned,
matter of fact, 100 Millbury Ave was selling the property for 1.25 million, I think. We made him an in-full offer and he turned it down. It's in my letter.
Wow.
So he's fishing. He's looking for somebody that's going to want to do something with him because I think he owns several parcels in that area. Whatever.
yeah, it's his prerogative. And the liabilities on the insurance, and so,
A lot of liability.
any thoughts, Adam?
I'd want to check with the building commissioner just to see, get his thoughts on.
Yeah, absolutely. You can think about it.
Yeah, it's just for discussion at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
The fact that it would be for staff only, to me, is a plus, but,
Yeah, well, you can't really see any other way of proceeding at this point. Then, I mean, it's possible. So, the other reason I'm here first is because there's a great deal of engineering that's going to go into doing this if we were to choose a multiple car one, which is much more expensive. I mean, it's, their estimate is $50,000 per space, so that's a lot of money. This one is $7,500 per space, so considerably, less expensive. And even if we were gonna do the other one, we probably would wanna do, you know, eight of these anyways for our staff. You know, and then do the other one. And the other one, you can also put it underground, and that's probably $75,000 a space, you know.
Right, right.
But there are some interesting videos you can see online that show, I actually did the search just before I left, unfortunately. I already have my proposal together, but there's some good videos that actually show it all working.
I've experienced it in New York City.
You have?
Yeah, yeah. It seemed to work. It was pretty
Through
good.
the chair, quick question if I could.
Sure.
In the area you experienced it, did they have an attendant or is this,
It was an attendant.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
got out of your car, the attendant put it on the lift and
does it
put it up.
project out and then lower it? Is that-
Up
And then,
and, yeah,
right, then to retrieve the vehicle, it comes out and then drops it
out
down.
and down.
And my concern would be if it's just employees doing this, it gets distracted, you know, safety. You said they,
Right, you're right, it doesn't have, to. I mean, we could have an attendant there
Yeah.
doing it.
and you did, an engineer did look at the option of a garage?
That was the option that I requested.
Could you
and
come
it's-
off of Millbrae Street? 'Cause I believe you go down in grade when you come off of Millbrae Street.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it seemed as though that potentially could construct something. You know, I don't know if you've had your civil engineer look at it.
I haven't. I have not.
And I don't know what the cost difference would be, just looking at the options, that's all. Might be worth having a civil engineer take a look at it.
Yeah, I probably should do a little more homework, looking at other options and see what other people's opinions are. That was what I was looking for, though, really to, even if we had to go up, you know, 2
mean,
stories. or
long-term,
something. But I
anytime-
mean, how many stories can I go up with a parking garage?
We definitely look at the
In
maximum
Auburn.
height requirement.
What's the maximum height?
Are you familiar?
Anybody know?
It's 25 or 35, I'm not sure what.
To the eaves, 25 feet to the eaves, I think.
So that would be 2 levels.
So you could have the bottom level, ground level, and then 1 level above it.
And then again, through the chair, I mean, then you may gain parking for your people who, you know, your membership too, not just the employees. I know you're trying to move the cars so you'll gain net increase.
Yeah, well, the employees have to be there anyway,
Right,
so we
right.
might as well, you know, move their cars out of the way, and then... that
Can you
makes-
lease any space off-site for your employees and shuttle them back and forth?
Well, we did valet for a while. That was somewhere in the $15,000 to $20,000 a month, which, you know, it'd be good if I was in the valet business. But
Yeah.
it was just crazy.
I'm just not
It was
familiar,
crazy.
not familiar with this enough to
Yeah.
say yay or nay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a,
I think
It's
that,
a
you know,
unique
that there are,
solution.
you know, all the cities are having this kind of issue. Ours is a little different, it's not a big city, but,
You know-
every square foot is valuable.
from where I sit, I think, you know, I would tend to agree with Bill and have the civil engineer take a look at for a garage and what's the, you know, cost.
I
And
will
again-
look at, you know, I'll have him go back, or kind of push back on this engineer, Alan, and then I'll have another company take a look at it.
I
another
think that's a
group.
good idea, but in the meantime, we'll take a look at the videos and, you know,
Yeah,
Bright side, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a great
yeah,
problem
as
to
long
have.
as there's enough money to pay all the bills,
yeah.
it's the only catch. Well, you know, do you want me to leave the larger drawings for you?
Sure.
Sure, that'd be great.
I apologize for the juice box sleep. All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, sir. You can get some
Have a good
clips if you
night.
want. Hold that up.
7:15, Jonathan Poulin requests a site plan approval under sections 3.2.6.11 and 5.4 of the zoning bylaws for the operation of a new landscape business garage on property at 121 Southwood Street, Auburn, Mass. Map 12, parcel 143. You want to come up to the table? Hi there.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
For the record, my name is Brian Melissi with Whitman and Bingham Associates. Here representing Poulin Construction, John Poulin, and the property owner Chris Lekowitz is here as well. This is being continued from, thank you for your
February
patience.
26th.
Actually, I think the last time we were in front of you was
February
December
26th.
11th, we were in front of you. Left that meeting with a couple of housekeeping items, if you will, and since then, to give you a quick rundown, we went and met with Mr. Coyle down in engineering, talked about the project. We actually performed a test pit on the site, which was witnessed by Graves Engineering, and then we revised the site plans to include a recharge, a water quality system, and a recharge system on the property. And so, if you want, I can kind of give a quick rundown. The project consisted of a 90 by 40.
When were the plans submitted with the new recharge system and the new layout?
They were submitted a while ago because we did have a letter from Graves Engineering after they reviewed it.
Did you not get?
I don't have a letter from Graves. We just got it yesterday.
No,
I don't have a letter from
Graves the other day. March 22nd, so
That's Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
So how do we review something
Well,
without being able to read
Let's
the
say this,
theory?
let him give us an update. I'm going to have to continue it because none of us have seen that letter from Graves Engineering.
Oh, okay.
All right. Typically, that has to be in
Thursday by
the
noon.
Thursday by noon before, the week before the meeting. So we haven't had opportunity to review it.
Okay. Yep.
But we certainly appreciate an update.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. So to give a rundown, if you remember, the project consists of a 90 by 40 square foot building to the rear of the site located at 121 Southbridge Street. The property also has an existing building that they run a automotive repair business on. The property owner has gone to ZBA to get the variance to put the building there, and then we were back in front of you guys. The first time we were here, we discussed, we did not have any groundwater recharge. There was some existing paving here. You guys had said you were uncomfortable with any equipment or cars parking on a gravel surface. You wanted this to be paved. We show that as paving. Again, we show and designed a recharge system. Graded the area to a water quality unit located here. The water quality unit is connected to a recharge area, subsurface recharge, storm tech area for recharge into the groundwater. Again, plans were submitted. We did get the letter from Graves. It's here. You guys haven't had the chance to read it.
There was some questions about, for the water department, you guys were going to trace the lines and figure out what was going on with the water and the sewer from that house
Yep,
that
so-
you're going to be removing?
Yep. Again, I had talked to the water department prior to us even submitting to this. There's records of the main, but really no records of what comes into the house at all.
Right, that's what I
And so, I don't know what you guys refer to it as, sometimes it's kind of like the Braille method during the demo of the house. They're going to have to excavate that service up, find it, cap it, and at that time they can take a look at it to see the size, to see what condition it's in. What we tried to do is add a note on the plan that said that. Once they figure out what's there, the water department said they'd come back and kind of refigure what it is they wanted us to do, whether we can just continue that line to the new building, or whether we're going to have to replace something, whether it be, from the connection point here or all the way out into the street. And so they did say that they would look at that when we figured out exactly what's out there. They didn't have any records.
Same thing with the sewage.
Pretty much the same thing with the sewer. The records I had the record plans of the sanitary sewer in Southbridge Street, which showed the service connection that they left off of the main. However, really no records as to exactly what happens up on the sewer, how the house or how the building is serviced. So again, once the demo of the house starts to happen, they can find out exactly where that service is, either chase it by either excavation or camera, and kind of report back to the sewer department and say, hey, here's what we found, here's what we're going to do. What we do show on the plan is an oil, water, or an MDC trap configuration to a new service. I showed the service all the way to the main point. Hopefully we don't have to put it in that way, but we don't know until we actually go out and start digging around.
To be honest with you, knowing who owned the building before, I'll guarantee you the house is tied into the building, and so's the sewer, without a permit.
With the-
Guarantee it.
Bill, did you have anything that you wanted to?
No, we did meet and we discussed the revisions to the plans based on planning board's comments as well, and I believe they've addressed those concerns. I haven't looked at Quinn's last letter either, but they were certainly willing to make the modifications to the plan that we had requested.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure what the sewer department or the water department would say, but I would think they'd want an individual sewer service to each building and an individual water service to each building, which may mean you have to go out to Southbridge Street to tie another complete new service in for each utility. I don't know what they're gonna say.
Yeah, we can, I think I don't have an issue with trying to trace that back. I mean, you could be right, John, it could be tied right into the building, but it's not unusual, unfortunately, to not have a lot of records on some of these properties, and we'll unearth it and see where it goes, and then make a determination, depending on if it goes out to the street with a separate connection, or if it goes to the building itself. So,
Okay. So, anything else you'd like to add?
That's all that we had.
Okay, all right.
If there's
Well, we
any other
appreciate, you know-
questions you want me to answer or anything that you want me to go over, I'd certainly
Sure.
like to do that.
Steve, did you have any questions, comments?
None.
John? All right, you good? No. I think we continue it to
Could do
April 9th?
9th.
April 9th. Does that work for you guys, April 9th?
Well, absolutely, sure.
Entertain a motion to continue to April 9th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
See you on the 9th.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if there's anything that pops up between now and the 9th, please try to let me know, and I'll take care of it when we come in on the 9th, so, great. I did bring some extra copies. Need them, want them?
Yeah.
Can't have my colored one, though. Anything else? Okay, great. Appreciate your time. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Here you go, Em.
Thanks.
Thank you.
476 Leicester Street, Lot 1, site plan stormwater changes and bond at 476 Leicester Street, Lot 2 to 5, minor modifications. Come on up.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
Ready when you are.
Sure. So the main reason why we're here is because we wanted to pin down the decommissioning bond. We submitted the amount that was requested by the board. But I understand we haven't voted on it, so it's not official. And then the documents that we submitted is just to formalize what we spoke before, that we're going to be moving the panels to lot 2, 3, 4, and 5 without increasing the disturbed area, without changing the actual site plan. So all we did was actually input the new panels so we can show the board that nothing has changed. I think the only change in lot 5 is that we might be clearing, I think it's like 1.2 acre less. But besides that, it's all the same. We just want to formalize it. The lender made us submit the revised plans and with them. So nothing has changed.
Adam?
The bond, I think you gave everybody last meeting the copy of the bond, the proposing. So you could
The
have that there.
decommissioning estimate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots 2 through 5, there, said there were some minor alterations, nothing that was substantial. I think maybe a couple panels are being shifted slightly.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else going to actually change the site aside from those minimal changes, which I think you all got copies of. And lot 1 is the big change right now. That's with Graves to have the drainage reviewed. So we're waiting to hear back from them hopefully by the next meeting on lot 1. The others, if we could take a vote, if you're all satisfied with the bond, and with lot 2 through 5, we'll be good on those.
Okay, so the lot 2 through 5, as soon as we get the information from Graves, after they review,
Just lot 1 is being reviewed.
lot 1 that's being
2
reviewed.
through 5,
Okay.
there really isn't, it's not worth it.
Well, let's take the decommissioning bond first. Steve, did you have any comments on that? I know we had some things we talked about last time.
I think the number is what was it, 250?
220.
220? I forget what the final number was.
200,000, 228.14,
Okay.
with inflation adjustment of 2% per year.
And that 2% per year was added, right? That language was added in?
Is that compounded?
Yeah, yeah, Julie's better.
No, I don't have any additional comments.
Nick?
No.
John?
The only question, I can't remember if scrap is considered part of the bond.
That's what I was looking for too, and I don't see scrap.
You mean recovery?
Yeah, you didn't include recovery in the bond, correct?
It's fine.
No, we don't.
Okay. Yep. Something.
It's negligible.
Yeah,
We don't know what the price of metal's gonna be.
right,
It's just light iron.
right. But it did increase significantly after our first input on that, so. All right, so we need to make a motion on the bond.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion on the bond.
Make a motion to approve the bond,
200,000.
200,000, 228.14.
Second.
All those, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then lot 1 is the one that's being reviewed,
Correct.
to see if it changes, stormwater changes.
Correct.
And 2 to 5, those are the ones that you're putting the larger panels on, which is why you don't need to use lot 1, because you're...
Exactly, like this, the site plans are submitted are exactly the same as the other ones. The reason that we're putting the panels in is to show that the layout is exactly the same.
Okay. Entertain a motion for minor modification for lot 2 through 5.
I'll make the motion for, to accept the minor modifications to lots 2 through 5. Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and we'll wait to get the information back from Graves on lot 1, and then we'll...
Perfect. And do you guys have any idea when Graves?
They're usually pretty
Pretty
quick.
fast.
They got everything planned to drop off last week, so hopefully sometime this week.
Perfect. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Nick directly.
Mr. Brooks has a question.
When do you think, have you gotten approval from Mass Electric to hook in or to
Oh yeah,
design?
the project is ready in the SMART program. Project is already ready to go. As soon as we're done with this, we'll be submitting our application for a building.
So you're able to almost start construction?
Yeah. No, if we could submit the application for the building permit tomorrow, it's all done. And I think what is part of the condition, the site plan approval, that we have to submit a confirmation to the planning board and the building inspector that
From
we
Mass
have.
Electric?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, so if you could provide that to Adam, that would be great.
Yeah, that will be part of the building permit application.
Okay. And then we will put this on the agenda for the 9th, for April 9th.
Perfect.
We should have the information back from Graves,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reliant EDA parking.
Hi folks, Randy Myron with Bowler Engineering. So I think at the last meeting there was some discussion about the 10% requirement, ADA parking requirement, and I know we've had some discussions with Caleb and Gary from the building department, and that regulation doesn't apply to a general medical office building. It applies to like a dedicated rehab facility. I guess, however, Gary and Caleb, they would like to see some additional. They would like to see some additional ADA parking spaces out there. So we prepared a sketch that I think adds 4 ADA spaces for a total of 8 in front of their main entrance. And this is in addition to the 6 spaces that are in front of the other entrance near the parking garage. And that's it. Hope the board is okay with it. I know Reliant would like to do the work as soon as they can.
I spoke to Caleb and Gary about the 8 spaces, and they were comfortable with 8 spaces at the main entrance.
You were comfortable? Same contract to the rest of the work on your building?
Yep.
We keep them from working after 9 o'clock at night? When they sandblasted the front of the building?
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't.
Not good.
I know that the work to add the ADA parking spaces is, I mean, it's really just going to be limited to adding some striping. The grading in that area already meets the ADA grading requirements. They don't need to regrade or repave the parking lot, so it's just a simple striping exercise and adding some signs, of course, too. So,
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, any, Steve? Nick?
None. I'm recusing myself from this one.
Okay. John?
All set.
Warren?
I'm good.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ADA parking plan as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve the ADA parking plan as submitted.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
awesome. Thank you.
You're all set.
Is there anything they need to do to do the work? They need to
I'll shoot you an email just with a brief paragraph about that they voted and.
Perfect.
that's it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Adam. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Lakers Street. Come on up, Bill.
Sure. Wish I'd been there for that.
So, thank you. Just wanted to bring the board up to date on a couple of concerns I had. Heard some calls from abutters and also site walks that I've had as well. So there's two concerns. One is in particular to the grading on site. So when you first go onto the roadway, the 5-lot subdivision that they're constructing, currently on the right-hand side, I guess would be the northerly or easterly side of the roadway. It was designed for varied from a 2-to-1 to a 3-to-1 slope, and they're currently blasting the ledge to almost a vertical face or a 1-to-4 slope. So when we did invite them into a DCG meeting to ask them exactly what their plans were, and I believe the response was that essentially that they were going to build it and then ask for permission later or approval later once it's built. And I said, well,
Sounds familiar.
it's not how it works. Normally, you either build it according to the plan, or you request for a modification and then come back before the planning board. So, it's certainly a concern. I did meet with them out there on site, I think it was last Thursday, and one of their project managers indicated, well, if we have to blast it all out to conform to the plans, then that's what we'll do. So they seemed to be willing to do that. I did tell them I had concerns with a ledge face. It probably didn't measure it, but probably somewhere around 25-foot drop off, where there's going to be either houses or potentially 250 units constructed with kids climbing the wall on the response. Did they bring up
the 250 units to you?
No, they didn't, but they've been...
We know that
They're still moving forward with trying to get water for the site. They have an application, I think, into DEP currently for drilling a public water supply well. So they don't have water currently. They're still actively trying to get water. I think if they were successful in doing that, then they would certainly move forward with that. And I think they have told us that that's ultimately their goal. They are still moving forward in Oxford with 300 units, to my knowledge, and I know they've met with Mass Highway as well, because Mass Highway has a project along Oxford, Charlton Route 20. I think that they were looking to put in the traffic signal where they were going to enter on Route 20, where they also would have commercial property as well, so it'd be some sort of shopping, commercial area located. But I don't know whether or not the state would even allow that. I think that the state would be hesitant to allow traffic light at that location. But in Auburn, certainly that's a concern that I had. In addition to that, Adam and I walked the site several weeks ago now when we received another call regarding clearing on the site as well. So in addition to the ledge cut area, they've gone through at least 1,000 feet, maybe as much as 2,000, but to be conservative, I'd say 1,000 feet. And for what they call just, minor brush cutting. But it was pretty significant. And, the response was that, well, we can just clear our property, there's nothing that says we can't. And my response back to them was that we had a meeting, I met with the project manager, we identified the clearing limits of the property. So whether or not they want to try to make the case that they can just clear their land, because we have an approved subdivision here that's very specific on what the clearing limits are. And they've gone in and cleared. This, we walked through and it went on and on and on. We went at least 1,000 feet, I'd say.
Yeah.
Some of the area did actually encroach within, I think, the wetland buffer area, 100-foot buffer zone. So that's been passed along to conservation as well. I think what they're looking to do is obviously exploratory drilling to see, what the remaining of the site looks like for ledge. So if they do potentially move forward, they're trying to get an idea of what the materials are like in that general area.
Are they taking all that off-site, Bill?
The ledge?
Everything?
Oh, they're hauling out of it, yeah.
I was gonna say, I followed a truck this morning on 146, they went down to Pine and Douglas and dumped down in Pine.
Yeah,
Did that come under earth removal? Because they must,
Yeah, I followed them down 146.
I'm gonna set up my own crusher.
They do have some stone on site, but they're hauling a lot of material off-site, so.
isn't that, it's almost like a gravel operation?
Yep,
I mean, this doesn't
they're
seem to be
screening,
coming under the...
yeah, they're screening material as well.
The
Yeah,
loom has to stay, if they got it.
yeah, I don't think there's much room out there,
Right.
there's a lot of ledge.
But, I mean, I seem to think in my mind that this is a little bit more than just clearing. It's like a gravel operation. They're selling massive amounts of it or using it somewhere else. It's a lot more than just to facilitate the project.
I mean, my feeling was that at a minimum, that they should be brought in before the board to explain what it is they're doing currently, because if their goal was to leave the ledge cut section, clearly they're not approved to do that. And then to hear the board's thoughts on that, and because it's not in accordance with the plan. And they have not requested a modification to the plan. I guess from their perspective, they could say, well, we would need to continue blasting and removing more ledge if ultimately they build the subdivision in accordance to the plan, which again varies between, I think, 2-to-1 and 3-to-1, depending on what part of the slope you're on. So,
I mean, in leaving a 25-foot sheer cliff just straight down, the wood stops, and I mean, even the animals won't remember it's there.
exactly. And they have orange construction fencing up now, but, an animal could go right over that.
I mean, no one's going to
Animal
expect
kid.
it. Or a kid.
Right, well, and a kid. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Whether or not, until they can remove further, more additional material, whether or not there should be, temporary chain link fencing or something additional put up to protect the area. They have no trespassing signs and construction fencing, which obviously little kids don't, or animals don't care about. No trespassing signs.
Most adults don't either.
Yeah, other adults. But, they did indicate that they would propose a fence permanently if the ledge cut was allowed, but, my feeling was the kids would be willing, they want to climb the ledge area, kids would be kids, and they certainly wouldn't have a problem climbing a fence if they were looking to climb the ledge. So I don't think a fence is a solution to allowing that to stay in place.
Bill, do you know if the fire department requires them to call them every time they blast?
They do, I believe, have a detail there, or I know fire has been involved because anytime that there's blasting going on, from what I can gather, I do hear on the radio the fire department advising that there's blasting going on. So I do believe they have been coordinating the blasting with fire.
Yeah, I spoke to Chief Coleman around when they were blasting, and he did say somebody was down there while they were blasting. I don't know whether they informed the neighbors or not, but I think there was somebody there on site.
I haven't been over there to see if they have blasting signs on the road.
I believe they do, John.
So besides bringing them in and having a chat with them, what are our other options?
Can we give them a cease and desist until they come in?
Honestly, I don't know if we have
The authority.
that ability. conservation definitely has that authority. I don't know if that's...
If they're clearing into a wetland.
In the wetlands, yeah.
Right, I don't know, that area was pretty far from where the subdivision was
Right.
being constructed. They could, certainly. It was that particular location, and I think that's in the background of the pictures where it was, so it wasn't overly significant where, they were in the wetland, it was in the buffer zone. We could certainly research and touch base with Attorney Hennigan if the board would.
We do have, if it's a health and safety concern, we do have authority to say no to projects where they haven't followed what they said they were going to build, and now they've created this hazard. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what Attorney Hennigan said, but it's concerning for all those people in the neighborhood.
The gravel operation doesn't really bother me much, it's the sheer cliffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if I was a developer and I had ledge there, I'd have my own gravel operation, be making my own stone, my own sand, everything I can make and save myself money. But isn't there a law that you can't you have to get a special permit to haul so many yards of?
500, yeah.
I think the...
Then that changed a little bit
Right.
when Lowe's came.
Lowe's, right.
We'd have to revisit what that bylaw is now. It was, I think, rewritten, or it's going to be applied under a different...
Right, through the chair. I know that was under site plan review. They didn't need to have an earth removal permit if they granted site plan approval. That came through the Lowe's case, I think that was a ruling.
I think everyone should take a look at it. They can go up there, and then you should talk with Bill, maybe even Hennigan, and just see how that comes, because it just doesn't seem right to me. It seems too massive. I don't...
Well, certainly it's...
For 5 lots.
I think, we're all aware that they wouldn't be building this if they didn't have greater goals in mind, because it just wouldn't be cost effective for 5 house lots.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. And so they have other plans, and they're still working towards them. And they'll tell you that that ultimately is their goal. But, they have approval for a 5-lot subdivision, so that's what they have to build the plan to right now, build the roadway to. We can look at whether or not it's through the planning board that the enforcement order would be issued, or whether or not it's through the building commissioner, so we can look into that. And then whether or not is that something that the board would want to do, if it was something that's through the planning board, or do we want to bring them in and then say, listen, this is what we want you to do. If you don't do this right away, we're going to issue an enforcement order, if it is through the board.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Because the hazard is there now.
It is, yeah.
So if we stop work, then we may want to have them start correcting that hazard.
Right.
And we know if they're doing anything for dust control during the crusher stuff?
It hasn't really, to my knowledge, at this point been an issue, because it's been through the winter. Everything's been wet. But certainly things are going to start getting dry, and we may start getting calls. I personally haven't received any calls on dust, but doesn't mean we won't start getting them, because it's a different situation now than it was last summer.
Oh, yeah.
Last year was just cutting trees. Now they're into earth removal, and you are going to get dust.
$250 units.
Right, but
Of the school.
550, 300 in Oxford, and 250
I'd be interested
in
if they had all the environmental controls in, if they're following the SWIP.
Mm-hmm. They did have all erosion control methods installed. So it's more, at this point, just not following the plan for the sloping, ledge cut, which they indicated, well, this happens all over the state. I don't disagree with that. All over I-290, 190, you don't, I think you don't see it too often in the ledge cut section in a residential neighborhood. It is a concern. Not to say it doesn't exist elsewhere, I'm sure it probably does. It's just not, to me, it's not a good idea. In a neighborhood where there's going to be eventually children.
I agree.
It's Eastland Partners, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eastland what?
Eastland Partners.
What the town of Milford has to say about it.
Well, I think, I'm in agreement with you, Bill, that we, at least, Adam, that we explore our options, particularly to get the, that hazard taken care of as quickly as possible, but also they're not complying with what was approved, and what are our options with that. Attorney Hannigan.
Yeah, if you could let us know what courses of action we can take.
Yes. We wanted to add, if you ought to call the town planner in Milford and see if this is par for the course of these people. They did a big development in Milford, I believe.
Milford?
Yep.
Well, maybe asking for forgiveness instead of permission seems to be a theme with these bigger guys.
Mm-hmm. We should stop that in its tracks.
I agree. I agree.
That's dangerous, and our names are on the letterhead.
Yep.
Right, I mean, the only thing is he's not building it according to the plan. I mean, he could argue, well, we're going to continue blasting to get the slope down to 3 to 1 if that's what's required. Because they did indicate, listen, if the planning board tells me that they're not going to allow this to stay, we'll blast the rest of the ledge out of there. I said, well, we'll bring it before the planning board and see what they have to say. I said, certainly, my recommendation would not to have a ledge cut section like that in a residential neighborhood.
Absolutely.
There are a couple areas that look like it wants to slough off already, so it's, that some of the areas could come down.
Somebody's playing at the bottom of the hill, see you later.
Yeah.
The Purgatory Chasm in Auburn.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Well,
All right,
we
so-
knew when they came.
Yeah, we did.
They even spit it out the first night, 40B. First, the second night they came.
Right.
They came
I
out.
mean, we all know what the plan's been all along, but it's just, it's disheartening to think that they're moving ahead at, doing whatever they'd like to do,
If it
however they
went through
want to
with
do it.
250 units, it'd probably mean another school.
Right, we just can't get 40B confused with Section 8. Totally different.
It's
Right.
different,
Right. Yep.
People hear 40B, they think it's Section 8.
No,
That's not what it is.
No, but that's a good point to make, so viewing audience, it's not Section 8.
Well, my concern was that when you put 250, 300 units in there, I know they made improvements on Albert Street and everything, but figure 250 units, 2 cars a unit, it's 500 cars, 2 kids per unit, another 500 kids in a school system. Who pays for that? Us. Right? With the wear and tear on Albert Street, then it comes to the town to keep that maintained.
Right. Sure, and then the other streets, Tinker Hill is in rough shape, and they're going to need a secondary access.
You'd have to come down Albert, go to Tinker Hill, repair all of that, because that's not up to...
Right. I think if they come before us with 250 units, I think that's what we'll be looking at, seeing what they're going to be able to do. Certainly.
We try to make it a condition that whatever you think, or we think they should do,
Right.
they
Yeah,
do,
whatever you
or
want.
they don't get.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Tinker Hill coming in from Route 20 is in real rough shape right now. Going
Maple
all the way to
off of
Blaker,
that.
some of Blaker. I mean, yeah, and that whole neighborhood needs some work.
We should be thinking about ahead to that.
Plus, all of them are going on to Route 12 or Route 20, which is a nightmare.
Yeah. Thank God for the improvements that have been made so far.
Right.
Well, I think that's the direction the board would like to take, is let's see
Get 'em in
what,
here.
get them in here, see what you guys put together, talk to Attorney Hannigan, and see what next steps would be, and inform us.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tiny homes, zoning bylaw.
Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill.
Thanks. So I think I sent you the most recent draft.
This one?
No. Yes.
This one is, this one, the red line, right?
The red one was sent by who was here last time. She had
Dominique?
some comments. The clean copy is a copy I sent to, it says section 13 at the top is a it's the copy I sent to the town council last week. I haven't heard back from him yet, unfortunately, but I stuck it on the agenda to see if he had any more thoughts, comments on this. The public hearing is going to be April 9th. It was in the paper this morning, the public hearing, so we're good to go for April 9th for the public hearing.
Yeah, I did a little more research into, caregivers and things like that, and I thought what she did was very good. I agree with a lot of what she had to say. And you do, like you say, getting into myriad exclusions and overthinking certain parts of it.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
Yeah. But I think, we did talk about permitting and, that kind of thing, and that's really the only way teeth we have to regulate.
One thing I may have misunderstood what she had edited over here, but it was like, well, if they sell the house, then it's up to the next person to get the permit. You either get that transferred at the time of sale or it's gone before it's sold. I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just don't think it should be part of the existing structure as like a sale, like this because it has this
Right.
sort of thing. Otherwise, then just put the addition on. Yeah. And again, with the restriction recorded, so conveyancers know about it. Right.
Right, and you had a very good point on that, too. Yep,
That's not to say that,
on the deed.
right, that they could get a permit from the town to convey it forward with someone who's moving in that has a elderly or disabled family member that could use it. I mean, that may be why somebody wants to buy it, but just to leave it up to the next person. No, either you've done that work or it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put the onus on them, and then it gets done the right way.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise it doesn't go, there's no sale.
Yeah, from the town. And the next homeowner.
That's the way to do it. So we're gonna have the public hearing on the 9th?
The 9th.
Okay.
Last night, the Board of Selectmen voted on the draft of the warrant, so they transferred our voting slip to the by Hennigan, so they had their concerns with the tiny homes regarding the speed that this was put together, but the process is what it is, and you can't really change it.
It did happen quickly. All right, so we'll see what happens at the public hearing.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with the speed that this was put together at all. I mean, I can see the need. I really can see the need for this.
Yeah. I mean, for the specific person to put it together, I mean,
Oh,
it's
5 years,
9,000 a
I've
month.
been all over.
How much longer will it take? It's a good point. The woman's 93 years old. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
5 years, I've been wanting to live in one.
Time is of the essence.
I feel like
I think you're ready for one now.
at 9,000 a month, I think,
You are
Yeah.
ready for one. You're
Yeah.
beyond ready.
I'm living in one
Yeah.
without a permit.
Yeah, I bet you are. Wife probably kicked you out, Ron.
It's in the chicken coop in the back.
Exactly.
Okay, is there any other business? Adam, do you have anything else?
No, not really. There's a MVP workshop that we held last month. There's a listening session until 8. If you want to come out to that for the Board of Selectmen meeting at 6. It's the only other thing from the planning office going on.
The only thing I didn't see addressed in the tiny home was water service.
Water service?
So it must be hooked up to the home's utilities, right, sewer and water. Sewer's fine. Water's gonna freeze.
Yeah, would you have a garden hose?
Can't use a garden hose.
Above ground.
Yeah,
yeah,
can't
you get
do
the
that.
heat tape and same stuff from manufactured houses.
No, I realize that, but I mean, there should be.
Yeah, how did they have that? Were they gonna bring it from the house into the tiny home or from
Yeah,
the
they can
street
bring it
in?
from the house to the tiny
There's a
house.
window.
Yeah.
One window to the next.
Yeah, garden hose.
Just connect it and water your lawn.
Oh, the old well.
Yeah.
Just do it with the bucket.
Hand pump, and, yeah, prime
On the
that
cold
pump.
out today.
Yeah.
They can have water units in there that you just fill up. You know, some reservoir that you just fill up and it's there until you run out.
I think that's how it is. The only place you could store that would be underneath.
Most RVs, and that's what we're
You could
trying
put
to
it in the
do.
keep underneath.
But tiny homes do have
A tiny home. All right, if there's nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye.